Salut, ça va? Ici Crémont.
Hello, Kim. So thanks everyone for joining us today. We're gonna start our A's of today around GPD, around Jira Product Discovery. Just before we start, please join the Slido that you see there. We're gonna have some questions as we go along, and you can also ask your question for the Ask Me Anything session that we're gonna have at the Next slide. So like I said, today we're going to talk about Jira Product Discovery. We're going to have 4 nice speakers that's going to tell us how they use it in their organization. The first question I have for you guys, for the people that have joined Slido, is how can you see Jira Product Discovery could be used? And then we're going to see what you guys think. Or any interesting use case that you can think of. Then we're gonna see answers as soon as I see that everyone has stopped typing. One is left. Oh. Let's see some answers. So like we see here with the most answer is roadmap. We have discovered a new Atlassian product, brainstorming, dynamic roadmap, ideation, organization, team. So we have all kinds of word there, but the main one is roadmap. Let's see how it goes. So today we have all the city from Canada that are, so here you can see all the ACE leaders from all the Canadian city. So feel free to contact them if you have any question around their ACE. Today we have four sponsors that we would like to take the time to thanks. They are at the right. If you have any question around Atlassian product, Rewind is providers of backup solution. Trundle is an Atlassian partners. Work Wrangler is also partners, and Adaptive also. So feel free to join them if you have any question around Atlassian product. We're going to start with the first presentation that Daniel Laframboise from Rewind is going to talk about how he uses it in his organization. So Daniel, the show is yours.
Awesome. I am going to also share my screen. Is everyone able to see?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, I think one of the best ways to start this presentation and the way we kind of discussed it was to actually give a real world use case of what Jira Product Discovery actually is. For those who haven't come into contact or maybe have but don't fully understand why an actual company would use this. So that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. And this is a real world use case, like I mentioned, that our team actually uses. So it's kind of a split use case between the sales team, the marketing team, the engineering team, and the support team. I'll try to walk through each use case individually and then tie it into the entire reason of why you would use a tool like Jira Product Discovery. So when we think about the typical interactions with a customer that a company would have, the sales team and the support team are usually the front line. And ahead of that is, amongst the two, the sales team is usually the first point of contact that a customer will have. Someone will come in and request a demonstration of a product. And then the sales team will loop in an account executive and typically a solutions engineer to show a customer how the product works. Now, oftentimes what comes out of that is questions like, can your product do this? Can your product do that? And a lot of times the customer understands the use case almost better than the company that's building the tool. The customer often comes up with use cases that haven't necessarily been thought of by the company itself. So one of the biggest utilities of Jira Product Discovery is being able to track feature requests, being able to communicate that across the company, and then being able to plan those so they can actually get built. So we'll walk through that process amongst different points of contact within the company. So again, starting with the sales team coming across a new use case, they would jump into Jira Product Discovery, and this is the first thing they would see. Obviously, this can be configured, but this looks like a typical Jira product backlog, but we're going to change the terminology a bit. Instead of having a backlog with issues, we have a backlog of ideas. Ideas you can think of as these feature requests, and that's the use case we'll talk about here. Feature requests such as a new rewards program, express checkout, whatever it may be. Anything new to the product that might not be implemented just yet. So a customer comes in, requests, hey, I love your product. I do a lot of transactions through it. I would love a rewards program to kind of get rewarded for my loyalty to your company. Sales team recognizes that's a great use case. So they'll come in, create this idea, and now it's officially being tracked. So now I officially have a scope of work that has to be done for this use case. I can come in here and fill out that use case using the description field or the overview field of this idea. And now that's officially being tracked as a feature in my company. That's the first step, right? That's being able to track new feature requests. The second pillar I talked about is being able to communicate that, right? How can I, track how many times this has come up? Again, we're kind of introducing a new term here in the Jira world. This is an insight. An insight you can use for the amount of times that this feature has been requested. So oftentimes it won't just be a single customer requesting a feature. So I can use the insights to track exactly what the intricacies of that request are. No two customers are going to request the same feature. Often the idea is the same, but how can I track exactly what's different between those two use cases? That's exactly what the insights are for. Ideally, I have a long list of insights that kind of help mold the first iteration of this feature. My product team takes that information, brings it to the engineers, and then we start the planning process. How can I get in terms of a actual deliverable in terms of a product release? So that's the typical workflow up to the second pillar. So that's tracking and that's communicating, right? Being able to identify what needs to be done and who is asking for it. I'll switch panes over to the impact and effort. So after building out a fairly decent sized feature list, typically the product team will look at the impact versus effort table. Now you can kind of see how it's built. On the y-axis, I have the impact, so how many customers are going to be affected by this in a positive way. And then on the x-axis, I have the effort, so how long is this going to take? What we typically do is we're going to look at what is the lowest amount of effort with the highest amount of impact. So how can we build this with the fewest amount of resources that affects the most customers? And that's exactly what I have at the top left here, right? We have the new rewards program. It has the highest impact and the lowest effort. That's a great candidate to start in my first quarter of development. I would typically plan that as the first work iteration that I need to deliver. And then you can kind of work your way down towards the bottom right of the axis, saying, this is a little bit more effort and a little bit less impact. So my express checkout, I'll probably slot in after my rewards program, on and on and on. You can see how we would go down the chain and identify all these items and place them into the roadmap. Speaking of roadmap, once I've identified each piece of work, this is probably my favorite view of Jira Product Discovery. As we interact with customers, a lot of times we have multiple touch points with them throughout, let's say, 6 months. Now, these customers are smart. They remember what they had asked us about in our early calls. They say, hey, remember that rewards program I asked you about? Any timeline on expected delivery? When can I expect that to be implemented? I always have this open during sales calls because I can refer to exactly what's being developed by the engineering department and what's coming up next. So on that call, I have an exact call of saying, yeah, you're right. The new rewards program is actually in active development. I would expect that between now and the next month. What's coming up next? Well, you can probably expect express checkouts and the waitlist experience to be a little bit better, but you're an existing customer, so I think the express checkout is probably going to be the most impactful. And finally, everyone loves a good Gantt chart, and that's exactly what we have here. So not only being able to identify what's being developed, but how did that play out throughout my quarter of development, right? Right now, my new rewards program is slated at the beginning of the year, typically finishing between April, June, May, right? It's 3 months worth of work, and I can stagger out my scope of work based on the dates that I select. If something ends up slipping, it's just a matter of clicking into here, changing the field of the project target, changing that, and I can see how in real time it kind of pushes out that Gantt chart so that things can kind of like slip out, slip in, depending on the amount of progress being done. but we did identify that this was pretty low effort, so I imagine this is probably going to stick into the April timeframe. So I'll leave that there. So that's kind of a very, very fast overview of what you can expect a day-to-day Jira Product Discovery use case is. It touches all aspects of the company, right? I talked about the front lines being support and sales, getting the most feedback on a particular use case on a feature that doesn't exist yet. The product team evaluating those use cases, kind of scoping out where it should fit along the product map. And then again, the product roadmap, displaying it company-wide so that everyone in the company should be able to point to saying, this is what's being developed right now. Here's what's coming up next. Here's things that we're going to do later. And here's things we actually decided we aren't going to do. So that covers the real world use case of Jira Product Discovery. I didn't notice if there's any comments in chat. I'll just check quickly. Looks like it's all good there. So yeah, again, that's the real world use case. This is actually what Rewind is using Jira Product Discovery for. Obviously, this is a fictional board. These aren't things that are coming up for the Rewind product, but it's the exact same use case we use between ideas, insights, features, impact versus effort, the product roadmap, and then the timeline for implementation.
Danielle, there was a small question. Maybe we can go through it now in the chat. Someone asked, does the entire team vote on impact and effect in your company?
Does the entire team vote on impact effect?
Yeah.
I don't want to prescribe how to do things. I'll tell you how we do it. It's not necessarily the entire team that gets to vote. The product team will solicit feedback from the engineers saying, what do you think the impact of this would be, or the effort would be to implement? And then again, reaching out to the sales team saying, you had feedback from a customer about this feature. Did this sound like it was a high priority, or were they just asking in passing? At our company, the product team owns that decision, but they will solicit feedback from outside.
Perfect. Thanks. We're going to be able to talk about a bit more during the Ask Me Anything. Thanks, Danielle. Let's go back to, let's see who's next. I'm going to share my screen. Next is Susan from Toronto. Your turn, Susan.
Okay.
Have fun.
Thank you. Let's see, 3. Okay. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, here we go. So hi, Susan from Toronto, Jira Queen. I'm just going to run you through our real world use case of Jira Product Discovery. It's different from what Dan used, which shows you just many different ways you can leverage this product into your organization. So our use case, I don't think it did that. Let me just hang on a moment there. I don't think it went there it's supposed to go. Okay, our use case is we used an existing Jira software project to mirror all the open issues into ideas into the Jira Product Discovery project. Now remember, they're called ideas, not issues when they're in there. And it was only for the purpose of prioritization. We didn't want to interfere with the current software project where people raise ideas, raise issues, requests. You know, at some point, maybe we'll be more comfortable and we'll open up everything directly into an idea, and it'll get prioritized and then moved over into the development project when it reaches the top of the list. But for now, the person doing the prioritization was exporting all the issues from the Jira software project and using an Excel spreadsheet with a whole bunch of calculations and macros, and it was very tedious and didn't have any visibility. So we moved over into Jira Product Discovery. So how we did it, well, initially we had to import all the active Jira software project issues and re-import them into the Jira Product Discovery project as ideas and ensure that we kept the link, because the link was really important to know that we've got kind of a mirror issue now as an idea. We also had to do a one-time rule to set score fields. And the reason that we had to do that is that in the software project, they were using a lot of RAG ratings like red, amber, green to quantify or qualify a request. Does the client really want it? Green. But when you're trying to do a calculation and really figure out how to prioritize it, you need a numeric score. So the owner of this project gave me a whole bunch of, if it's red, it's 100. If it's green, it's 50. So I had to do a whole bunch of rules to set those score fields in the ideas, in the Jira Product Discovery, in order to set up to create this prioritization. It was a bit tedious, which resulted in a lot of automation rules. So we have a rule that will now mirror a new idea in when the software issue is created. So that is up and running. We have 5 rules, actually that changed this week to 8 rules, where we're updating key fields in the linked Jira Product Discovery field. So if they change the rating down in the software project to say it's no longer amber, it's now green, that then will update the matching field in the idea and do the calculation on the score field. And then again, like I said, we need the rules to set the score fields. They had 5 or 6 score fields that we needed to give them numeric quantities so that they could be worked into the overall calculations. We had to use a lot of smart fields in the automation rules to update your product discovery fields. They're not ones that you can just pick the name of the field because they are a Jira Product Discovery field, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And then there's probably more syncing rules required. Yes, I found out this week that they want to let the summary updated the description, so a bit tedious, but working. Just a note on what some of the automations look like. You can see that if the value of a Jira Product Discovery priority field is changed, say it goes to blocker to critical, then what we need is we're setting that to score field. It's using the smart value and setting it to 100 down here. So there's a whole bunch of those, 5 or 6 of those automations running. It's a bit tedious as well, but they're working. And then, so just a word on what I found out when I was exploring the Jira Product Discovery field and trying to figure out what to do with it, like in terms of what it can do, what it can't do. So I found out it has unique features that it feels like a team managed project if you work with a team managed project, but it's missing some of that functionality, but it has unique other features that don't exist in team managed projects. So notification workflow are those basic team managed projects, like we've all experienced. Automation is fully functional, thank goodness, because I relied on it very, very heavily. There's no paragraph custom field that you can add into the Jira Product Discovery. So you end up having to sort of template your description field, much like Daniel's previous example, where they took a big description and kind of made it look pretty with areas to talk about the impact and everything. I would have preferred to have, because back in the software project, we have a paragraph field for, business reason or business priority, which is like a whole description on it. I was surprised natively there's no story point field, no priority field, no assets or apps. That's pretty true of all team managed fields, not extended that far in a team managed product discovery project. And again, just a word of caution, global custom fields are now available in team and product discovery, but they have to have global context, which caused me a bit of angst, which I found frustrating because so many times they tell you, make sure you put your custom field in as context to its project, but then you can't reuse it over in product discovery, so it's working a bit against you. So it was a little bit of playing around with those fields to get them all synced up. So what's unique and wonderful about Jira Product Discovery? Dan showed you how they're using the native impact and effort fields that are native to Jira Product Discovery, and then you can use that graph to show this is where it is. It's basically just a sliding scale, like 5 for impact, 4 for effort. However, my team was a lot more detailed and granular, and this is the calculation field they gave me, which was a combination of 6 different fields that all related to where the client was at, how much do we want it, where do they score. And so the good thing is that there's this wonderful calculation field that you can't get anywhere else but in Jira Product Discovery unless you have like an add-on like Script Runner. But it's great. It does the calculation for you. And you can also do color on your fields with little emojis. I really wish we had that in native Jira fields because it really lights them up and you can see what's going on. So Jira Product Discovery looks a lot more colorful than your basic Jira project. So this really highlights that what's outstanding here. So values less than, this is like amber, and then this is a value up value. This is one where we want to say, hey, this might be like a really getting to that point where we want to look at it. So it jumps out at you. So that's how we were able to figure out that. And I'm just going to talk about another gotcha. Dan showed the product roadmap. When I first saw the roadmap, I thought, oh, what a nice little Kanban board grouped by statuses. No, wrong. It's not. It's actually based off the Jira product field called roadmap over here. So in your idea, you have to say, well, this item is going to be next now or later, and that then determines where it is on the column. I was thinking it was related to the workflow. Not at all. So that I had to get out of my mind that the product roadmap is not the workflow. Just don't even think about it that way. And then what did it end up looking like? So I had to black this out because it is actually live in our organization. But they grouped it by the themes, which was a custom field, which is kind of like a component for them. And they were able to come up with their scores, and then now they have a rating, and they're really happy with it because now they can look at the top ones and go this is the one we're going to get the most bang for our buck. This is the one that we should focus on. And they're really happy, and they can share it out with everyone because you don't need extra licenses for Jira Product Discovery just to share it out or let people view it, which is nice, or even for people to comment on it. So that was really good. And that is it. So thank you very much. If you want to hold your questions or add them into Slido, we are going to have you and ask me anything at the end. And I will turn it over to Dan. Back to Denis. Thank you.
Back to me. So let's me share my screen again. For the next speaker, we have the third one. Thanks, Susan, by the way. It was a great presentation. And the next one is Heather, around GPD standardization. Heather, do you want to take the floor?
Of course. Thank you.
Share your screen.
So, yeah. So just before we get started, I want to talk about is when you run into multiple groups or multiple JPD projects, but you're still trying to have standardization across those projects. And this is for something probably for larger organizations that tend to happen where you have multiple product areas that are experiencing their own roadmaps, they're juggling things, but then you have either a director of product or you have a PMO group that wants to do reporting based on a standard set of metadata. So in those situations, this is where standardization will come into play. Just going to go over and switch to my screen share. All right, so everybody can see my screen, right? Awesome. So to start off here, what we have is, and we have, for example, JPD projects right now in our environment. And what we're going to do is if we click on, for example, this mobile banking application one, these groups are tracking a bunch of items. Again, this is a demo environment, so I do kind of have some of the same ones Dan was featuring in his. But what we want to do is, say we have a field, like a very common field would be teams or platforms that we want to have set up that is shared across all of our JPD projects. We would go down into our project settings and under fields, and most people would sit in here in this section and would update their fields and just add the fields over and over in every individual one. But there is a better way. If you come up to this global fields section up here, instead of creating a field, we could open global fields. If you are a Jira administrator, you can do this, but you can come in here and you can, as you can see here, I have a bunch of global discovery fields already. And you can create a global field, give it a name. So we can put testing options as a name, and then we can select the type of field that it would be. So we make that a multi-select. Once we create that, we can then add our description, our emoji, and our options. And then our final step would be to add it to a project. This is a great way if you're adding global fields after the fact. You can select as many as you would like, or you can select all of them to add that field to. Go ahead and click add. The other thing I like about this is that you're not limited to discovery fields. As Susan was saying, you have Jira fields. Those Jira fields can be added to your project if you click on the Jira field here, and you get a list of your Jira fields. So like asset status. You want asset status from your JSM to be added in there. You come in here, like you select Jira fields, you go to asset status, and you click add to project. When you click add to project, you can absolutely just add it right on into the projects that need that field. Go ahead and click add. And now what they will do is you can quickly navigate to the project. You can also, if you added it by accident, you can remove it from a project as well by clicking on this X. And now you have it shown here that it is in 2 projects. These are great in the sense of, so we can come in here and something like a formula field that you want to apply. We're going to come in here and add that to all 4 of our projects very quickly. And then we're also going to add team very quickly as well. Or actually, we're going to add team from here. We're going to add drive from here. Apologies. And we're also going to add team. So we can add team as well. We have 2 different teams in this environment. This is our demo environment, but if we, so now that once we have them added, we can come back to our Jira Product Discovery project. We'll refresh the page, and you can see we have 42 fields. 34 of them are project-specific fields, and 8 of them are global fields. We click on our 8, we can see them here listed, and this will help with actually updating the information. The reason, like I said, you want to do this is with your Jira Product Discovery is for that stability of reporting. So now we're in here, we have this drive, and you can see these are global field because they have the little building beside the name. And now you can come in here and just select what you would like. And if we quickly go over to our other discovery project, the field is also there as well. Drive is here. And then if you did a JQL search, you would be able to just search for drive, issue type equals idea, and it would just populate everything from JPD. Yeah, so that is what, yeah, so that is what I've got for you guys. Some of the things that you can't standardize is actually the workflow as well. So if you have not the roadmap, but the workflow itself. So there is this status field. So this status field here, this is one of the items that you would not be able to standardize across the different Jira Product Discovery projects. So I hope that helps with standardizing some of these options, because when you add these fields in, it helps makes administration a lot easier when you can do that. But yeah, thank you for your time, and Denis, back to you.
Thanks, Heather. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. The last speaker we have for today is Brandon.
Oh, you can hear me, see my screen okay?
We do.
Yep.
Awesome. So I wanted to cover a bit of a use case that I use with my organization, Absolute Security, just how we've utilized Jira Product Discovery for creating alignment within the company on feature delivery. So, all right. I would like to begin with a story. And like many a fairy tale, it speaks to us on a very primal level. Imagine, if you will, a software development department. The product people have produced a perfectly prioritized pack of project plans and have provided the proposal to PD. The developers are developing, the quality assurance are assuring the quality, and the project manager is tearing his hair out trying to figure out how it will all get done on time. Everything is as it should be. Everything is Hakuna Matata, as they say. But then, from the deepest, darkest corners of the sales team, a voice cries out with a question. It is the very same question asked millions of times by hundreds of children whose parents are stuck in LA gridlock on their way to Disneyland. Are we there yet? In our story, the answer is to be found in the most dreaded of places, the status meeting. People trudge to the largest of meeting rooms and dial into the Zoom link from each and every department in the organization. Attendees will keep one ear open to the numerous speakers casually responding to emails on their mobile telephones whilst missing out on crucial nuggets of information such as, "Yes, Phil, you are muted." And once, hours later, the final slide dawns on the PowerPoint presentation, attendees return from whence they came and attempt to get actual work done in what little remains of their day. And a new question creeps into their minds. Is there a better way? And that, my dear listeners, is the question I shall endeavor to answer for you today. So, to begin with, we have our prioritized list of ideas in Jira Product Discovery. Our product team is constantly grooming this list, and the development teams are already hard at work on the most important items. Much of the information we want to share broadly across the organization is already here, but probably not in the right format to be consumed by the wider organization. We need to take what we have here and transpose it into a clearer answer to the question we posed earlier. While JPD has several view options available, we felt like the board view was the right place to start. We already had a field that aligned each idea to the major releases we had planned for the next few quarters. We filter out any ideas that were not yet started or were too far out to reduce clutter and create focus. We refined the fields to be displayed to only those that we felt would be relevant to our audience. We did find that we wanted to add a field that would display some additional metadata around the feature's release, including if it would be available as a beta or a limited release or see general availability. So we now have a solid foundation on when we expect each of our ideas to reach customers. But there is more we can do to corroborate these assumptions. Next, we want to connect our Jira Product Discovery ideas to where the work delivery is being tracked, which unsurprisingly is Jira. All JPD items include a delivery panel for this purpose, allowing you to connect individual work items or items grouped into epics. Once linked, JPD will automatically total up the linked issues and display a progress bar based on the status category of all the issues. Options are limited, but you can choose between issue count or an estimation metric to determine how progress is displayed. A few caveats to keep in mind here. If you have Jira Premium and have extended your hierarchy above epics, it only uses the immediate children to determine the progress bar. Whereas, for example, an initiative with 2 epics would only use those 2 work items for the progress bar. Whereas if you include epics themselves, all the work items therein would be used. Only JPD creators can set delivery tickets from within JPD. However, there is a workaround for anyone with linking permissions to link Jira items directly to a JPD idea with the implements link. The option which can help you if licenses are scarce. This provides us with a rough estimate of how work is progressing and to provide at a glance reassurance that the work is getting done on time. But a good project manager knows that sometimes the last 10% of the work takes 50% of the time. And that's why we also connect JPD ideas to the more gut feel opinions our team is regularly contributing to the goals and projects to be found in Atlassian Home. Each idea is linked to a single project from which it can display status and a quick link to the most recent updates. For features that are of particular interest to a given stakeholder, they can follow that link and subscribe to get weekly updates directly from the people in the know without further licensing. For more complicated endeavors, we may use multiple projects to track status, but we have a practice of a primary project where updates encompass everything. This is in part because a JPD idea can only be linked to one Atlassian Home project at any given time. It can, however, link to multiple goals, assuming it contributes to those. With that, we have a final product which allows our organization to leverage Jira Product Discovery as a single source of truth for status of all key features being worked on by development teams. Our release plans are supported by qualitative and quantitative progress data, keeping people in the loop should things go a bit off track. We expect to keep adding to this as we need to. Currently, we are looking at, we would like to look at bringing in other aspects of delivery, such as go-to-market planning, which is currently over in Asana, to be represented alongside development. The tool has proven so popular that even non-development teams, such as our operations team, want to make use of it for prioritization and publications of their technical roadmap. And while we haven't gotten rid of those good old status meetings, we find we need them less frequently, and they are more efficient when we do have them. So thank you very much, and I look forward to answering any questions in the AMA.
Thanks. It was perfect. Let's go back to the next steps, which is thanks everyone again. You did great. By the way, Brandon, that was a nice story with a nice ending. Did there. Whoops. So we're gonna take a photo with all of you guys. If you can activate your camera as much as possible, we would like to take a picture of as many people as possible on the screen. So,
Of course.
You want to hide the photo time slide so that we have full picture.
yeah, let me stop sharing the picture.
There we
with
go.
everyone.
Just make it. Okay, there we go. I'm just making this a little bigger. We'll give everybody another moment to get cameras on. We all love to see your smiling faces.
Just let me know when it's taken.
Oh, trust me, I will. Because I will.
We have 3 pages.
Wow.
You have 3 pages. Like everybody's fitting nicely on 1 page for me.
Okay, we'll get that. Did you get the shot?
Not yet.
Hurry up.
Everybody was still turning on cameras. Be patient.
Okay, get rid of that IA assisting person. So it's a robot that creeped in. Alistair, you've got a good jungle team going on there with the giraffe in the background.
All right, I got just 1 second. All right, everybody say cheese.
The
Matata.
I do have the pictures.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thanks
you.
everyone. You can shut down your camera now if you want. Let's go back to presentation. So the next step is the Ask Me Anything. So let me share the Slido. If you want to ask any question that you around Jira Product Discovery, we have 4 specialists here. We're gonna have a host that's gonna ask the question to all the people. We're gonna put people in an immersive view. Let me do that. to stop sharing, I think. Oh no.
Yep.
I need to stop sharing, right?
That is correct.
I was trying to find a way.
We'll get there. In the meantime, you guys can put your questions in the Slido.
Heather, I don't have the option now
Like I can put
for
yours
immersive
in.
view.
I will take care of it. No worry. That was the one that we were doing.
And we have Minnie Mouse as a host.
Okay, I am just starting to share. Oh, okay. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Oops.
Automatic, no?
Yeah, I accidentally got Mac as a manual. Apologies. Live and learn.
Sit more forward.
No,
Just
it's
sit
fine.
properly in the seat. This is the
We
hard
are
part.
good.
Don't look like
You
you're.
don't cut off your ears, Javanka.
There we go.
Oh, we lost Javanka.
We need Minnie Mouse.
We need Minnie Mouse. She's our face.
Sorry. Working on. Okay, so apologies.
No, it's fine.
Oh no, what am I doing? What am I doing? Where is
Missing
your
Javanka.
logo? There you go. Okay, bye-bye, Denise.
Bye-bye.
There you go. There, we got it. We got
All right.
Perfect. I was gonna say this is the first time I'm sitting really weirdly. I feel like I'm the tallest in the class, which is not usually how things go for me ever. I'm always the smallest in the front row. So I'm happy to really be up here with the tall kids. Awesome. So we're gonna do an Ask Me Anything panel. Tough act to follow. Thank you, Brendan, for the amazing presentation. I was watching it at my camera off. I was up really close watching it. So that is awesome. Love the graphics too. Okay, so I am just going to go from top to bottom. I'm going to let you experts chime in on this. So let's get started, okay? So anonymous person asks, will this ever be offered on-prem/data center? Which these days, it's all just data center, isn't it?
My guess, I don't know if anybody has any differing opinion, but my guess would be no. They seem to be pretty cloud focused, and I don't think they will be, but you never know. We'll see a team. If they don't mention it, it's not likely.
Yeah,
I think it's highly unlikely, unfortunately.
I don't
It's
think
such a great product. Yeah.
Perfect. Stay tuned to find out. All right, Robert. Oh, go back. Sorry. Perfect. Okay. Hi, Robert. Nice to see you again. So Robert bravely put his name on it, which is amazing. I don't know who Anonymous is. There's like a million people here. So Robert goes, do you find the number of ideas growing fast? How do you manage, how do you find the process of calling information within the tool to keep work items manageable?
Well, ours are fed from a software product, and the whole reason for doing Jira Product Discovery was to try and like weed those out. And then I had to create more automation. So when the software project was canceled the idea as well. But I don't know that they're making progress on it. Dan, you probably have more real world experience on that one.
Yeah, I can tell you how we do it again. This is really do what is best for your company. We kind of have like a time to live. So you'll enter a new idea that comes in, and that might be a great idea, but it could go months without any traction. So we kind of set like a time to live on that idea to say if we don't hear from it again for the next 6 months, we'll probably move away from it. And then there's no harm in recreating it if like 3 people ask 3 months from now.
Yeah, same here. We've got product people that are constantly sort of looking through and things that are important get sort of filtered into better visibility, while other things sort of get put on parking lot or closed out or merged together, depending.
for us, what we have is it's just part of a routine maintenance. So we set aside time once a month to go through and clean it up ourselves.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right. So let's see. The next question from Git says, does JPD have a portal similar to what we have in AHA?
I think they do. We don't use it. But I thought there was something along those lines. I'd have to check.
I'd have to check as well. I don't think there is, though. Like they do
Is
have
there?
to-
There's a form. I think you can embed a form elsewhere. That's what you can do.
So the way it works is when you click the create idea, there is a form that pops up that they can fill in with a template in there. But I really like any special portal, no. There is not a special portal like similar to like JSM. But the best I've seen is that template version myself.
Awesome. All right. Anonymous asks, does Atlassian internally only exclusively use JPD, or do they do some additional products / plugins in tandem?
I know that the Jira Product Discovery team does exclusively use Jira Product Discovery because I went to one of their talks and they talked about how they only use that. No idea on the other products team. Does anyone else know?
No idea.
No,
I know they do tend to try and dog food their products as much as possible. But yeah, that would be a question for Atlassian.
If we have any Atlassians on the call, this is time to come to the front of the class, please. Front of the class. This would be a great time to answer that. But
I'm not sure
that's
they
awesome.
admit that though.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert, thank you again for asking a question with your name attached to it. I appreciate it. Robert goes, how do you balance keeping ideas in JPD and future work items in a Jira backlog in line? When is it best to graduate an idea to a collection of work items?
I mean, it sort of depends on the priority. Like we have a list that's always longer than our capabilities. So we have to curate that list and sort of say, okay, well, these teams are going to be working on this. So it's time to take those and to start sort of expanding them out, whereas the rest will stay. So it depends on, I would say, how big your pipeline is and how many things you can actually bite off at one time.
Yeah. Our approach is when development is kind of ready for it, the engineers will take on the task of breaking it down as a feature. And then once it's complete, all those issues get moved into done. And you can actually flag that idea as done, and it doesn't disappear, it just gets removed from like the active filter. So it doesn't necessarily get deleted, it just, it kind of moves away from your front screen.
Yeah. For one of my teams, what they do is they use the statuses. So they actually do have a proper backlog status. They keep things in there. That's what for the product group, that's where things go to start. And then as in Dan's case, as the engineers start working on it, or when they're ready for engineering to start working on it, they move it into execution. But one of the criteria they have is that they can't start executing it until at least one epic or delivery ticket is linked to it. And they go through a quarterly review for those to make sure that the engineering org is keeping those updated and moving it along. It's also for another client, it's a very formal process, but it's completely managed by the product organization. They're not too worried about the backlog themselves because everybody eventually does get to it. It's just a matter of when.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Anonymous asks, can you use JQL to set the issues that are included in progress bars? I'm seeing Susan shake her head no. So I think the answer is no.
Well, I think Brendan can answer that best.
Yeah, so I mean, it all depends on like they're just using a dedicated sort of linking type, which is the implements link to determine whether something appears in that as well. So I don't think you can use JQL to set it. You could use JQL to determine, which items are there, and you could potentially set up automations to set that linking, but it's that dedicated linking option that determines what's in there and what's not.
Yeah, so adding on to what Brendan's saying is the way it works is that delivery progress bar uses the Polaris linking issue linking in the back end. And what the Atlassian has done in the last 2 months is they released a new dedicated linking module in software where you can add an idea to a ticket and it gets its own dedicated section. And when you add the idea to the ticket, then it would show to the epic or story or bug, then it will show up under the list, under the delivery tab of your idea in Jira Product Discovery. The status on your delivery ticket, so your epics, your stories, and your bugs, that is what's actually progressing that progress bar. So using JQL to set the issues included, if you can do that. So what you can do is you can actually use an automation to say, if your JQL search includes this tag or this component or this project, then update the linking as another step in the automation to link it to that idea ticket using the issue linking. And that would be how you would use it to set the issues included within that progress bar. But ideally, while you could automate that, I would advise against it because you can link epics to multiple ideas as well. And from a product and project management perspective, the reason I advise against it is because then you're removing that layer of understanding, technical understanding of what you're actually delivering and how and where it ties up to and how it rolls up. So on the project management side, you want to understand why you're having your engineers link a certain epic to a certain idea so that when you're reporting on it and talking about it, you have that context and understanding. On a technical side, yes, you can do that with automation and JQL.
Okay. How are we doing on time, Dennis? Do you think we can do a couple more, or what do we think? Got a
Yes, we can do a couple more. We're good.
couple more. Okay, perfect. All right, let's see what's the next question. What other tools do product managers in your firm with JPD? How do you integrate them together? So what other, I'm assuming it means like what other tools are being used and how do you integrate and connect those with JPD?
I've got two, and we could probably do a better job at actually integrating them because we mostly just refer to them, but Salesforce and Gong. So Salesforce is obviously the source of truth of the deal size. And when I talked about effort versus impact, the impact can be a big, attribute to how much money will this feature bring in. So oftentimes when we add an insight to an idea, we link to the actual person who's requesting it to the Salesforce. The product manager can understand how much money is tied to this deal. And the Gong recording is important because all of our sales calls are recorded in Gong. You can actually go back to the actual conversation to see how did that person frame that feature request. So you're kind of giving the product manager the full picture in about two links. And again, all we do is paste in the links. You could probably do it way better as an actual integration, but those are the two that come to mind for me.
So we have a Salesforce to Jira plugin, and on the software project, they link all the clients together that have interest in that idea, and then the plugin has a feature where we can sum up their revenue. So, and then we say like, what's the total revenue tied to the clients that want it? And that revenue can be, if it's like $3 million, that's going to then fall in a higher rating. And then that's one of those scores I was showing in my presentation that we use. So by getting the total revenue, that if it's a high revenue, that goes into the score and that puts it up a bit. So that's the kind of what we're doing. But other than that.
Awesome. So next question is, have any of you tried automating the tickets? Oh my goodness, the thing moved. Have any of you tried automating the update of a field based on change in the link delivery tickets? Julie and Jean.
That's all mine I seem to do. Just so you know, it's fine. The automation works fine. So basically, I look for if it's got a link to the product, to the product project or the Jira product project, and it changes and it's one of these fields, then updated over there as well. So I do a lot of thinking between them. Eventually, I'd like to get rid of the software project and just use the ideas, but baby steps.
Yeah,
Baby steps indeed.
Yeah, for
Oh,
us, we definitely do that a lot as well, as we've actually have tried that. It has been successful. And then we're also working on automations that will update the JPD tickets based off of other metadata that are within the JP tickets as well.
Cool. Awesome. Can this recording be shared? Yes, the recording can be shared. We all are nodding in unison to that. And also, will JPD be available with enterprise subscription?
So JPD is currently available on standard. Premium is hopefully going to release over the upcoming months for premium. For standard, for enterprise, they haven't made any indication about enterprise yet, but JPD is available for users that have enterprise subscriptions with other Atlassian products. That is something, though, that if you want to send me a direct message in the chat, I can take your contact details, and I am talking with a JPD product manager shortly, so I can find out and get back to you on that specific one.
Fantastic. Awesome. So the next question is for Brendan. So for Brendan, he mentioned in his presentation that one of his teams, operations, liked some particular feature of JPD and they were looking to use it. Why?
I think mostly it's because of the sheer flexibility that it has over and above a lot of the other sort of standard Jira project. It's just more than just a simple template. I mean, we as I said, we use JPD as sort of a single source of truth of what's going out the door to customers, and operations does have customers. They're just internal customers, and a desire to sort of easily sort of populate that and link to the various pieces of information like I was describing appeals to them. I wasn't expecting operations to come with us and ask for licenses, but that is the situation I find myself in at the moment.
Fantastic. Awesome. And then final question from Robert. Is there a best practice when it comes to capturing external feedback? Has anyone connected JSM with JPD to allow external users to create new ideas?
The only thing, I mean, you can certainly do it, and that way you would save licensing for people wanting to input it, but they wouldn't be able to see their ideas because you have to have a Jira license in order to view the ideas, but you don't have to have a Jira product license in order to view the ideas. But it's not an externally facing one like a JSM project. So you could probably intake them, no problem, but then you wouldn't be able to feed it back very well.
A shroud of secrecy over your ideas. Awesome. Perfect. All right. And I think that was all. We did get one more. Do we have time for the one more?
Yeah, I like the last one, so let's go with the last one.
Okay, final question from Cremo. Are there any follow-up Jira Product Discovery sessions planned yet? Will you be sharing improvements, best practices, and perhaps updates from Team 25?
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talking about it there at Team 25. Ourselves, I don't think we have any follow-up sessions, but if that's what people are interested in, I'm sure that we could look to revisit this topic in a future session. We usually, it's not planned yet, but we usually do a Team 25 recap around June. We'll sort of see how that goes.
Us Canadians are easily convinced. We'll do what the people say.
Exactly.
We'll do whatever you want. Wonderful. Perfect. Well, you have all been wonderful. Thank you so much for this Q&A session. Thank you for letting me be your Minnie Mouse host for the day. Hopefully, see you all very soon.
Thanks again, Javanka.
No problem. See ya.
So the last step is the quiz.
Yeah, I will give you back control so that you can take over.
Yeah, go back in on normal view.
There you go. She's up. Somehow I'm still sharing my screen. This is great.
All right, so if you haven't joined the Slido yet, please do so you can participate in our quiz. It's a mixture of Disney-related questions because James is going to be in Anaheim if you haven't caught on that yet. And also questions from our presentations.
Do we have a lot of people in Slido? Can you see? Are we leaving them times to join?
I cannot see the participants.
That's Brendan can see that, right?
Yeah, Brendan can see that.
So we're gonna have 13 questions for you guys.
Ooh, sorry, top 4 will win a prize.
Not
Yeah, it was back to top 10. That's going to be a
There's
bit.
an error, yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Whoopsie.
So we have 12 to 13. I think right now we have 12.
Yeah. We have 4 sponsors, 4 prizes.
So let's start.
Okay, is everyone there? First question is, what is the term used for the hidden images of Mickey Mouse that are placed throughout Disneyland? Mickey marks, secret Mickeys, hidden Mickeys, or mouse motifs? Okay, Mickey marks. Unfortunately, that is not it. Let's reveal the answer. It's hidden Mickeys. What year did Disneyland officially open? 1950, 1955, 1960, or 65? And the correct answer is, it looks like a lot of people do know it. It is 1955. Amazing. Next is, after an idea is created, what is the name of the field or object that helps track the feedback of a given idea? Is it feedback, insight, comment, or tracker?
Who is paying attention?
If you're paying attention, yes, it is indeed. Next question. What is the name of the large castle of Disneyland? If you've been there, maybe Cinderella's Castle, Sleeping Beauty's Castle, Elsa's Ice Palace, or Beast's Castle. I mean, if you've been to the LA Disneyland compared to the other Disneyland, you might not call it as large, but it is still a castle in the middle of the park. So we have split questions. It is Sleeping Beauty's Castle. If you are not aware yet, they have different castles between the different Disney parks. In LA or in Anaheim, we have the Sleeping Beauty Castle, Cinderella's Castle in Orlando and Disney World. What was the original name Walt Disney intended to give to Mickey Mouse before his wife Lillian suggested a change? Is it Mortimer Mouse, Maxwell Mouse, Milton Mouse, or Marvin Mouse? Can you imagine Mickey having a different name? All right, looks like we have majority correct answers. It's Mortimer Mouse. Next up, what field is not native to Jira Product Discovery projects? Is it status, assignee, priority, or labels? Let's see.
Oh.
Have a split answer, kind of. It's priority. Still having a third of the participants. Correct. What is the official term for Disneyland employees? Are they called park attendants, perhaps magic makers, or park hosts, or are they called cast members? So the correct answer is cast members. If you pay attention, usually they have the cast member signs around. Which thrilling attraction is exclusive to Disney California Adventure and cannot be found in any other Disney park worldwide? Is it the Tron roller coaster or the Happy Ride with Baymax, Radiator Springs Racers, or Tower of Terror?
Oh,
Oh,
split.
hi. Okay. The correct answer is Radiator Spring Racers. Tron can be found in Magic Kingdom in Disney World. And the Cars Land can be found in the DCA in LA, in Disneyland. What items can you share between JPD projects? Is it workflow, fields, views, or updates? Fields? Is it really fields? It is fields. Okay. We have next question is what architectural technique is used in Sleeping Beauty Castle to make it appear taller than it actually is? Is it forced perspective, optical camouflage, geometric scaling, or do they use reflected surfaces? Awesome. Everybody's almost got it. Forced perspective it is. Okay, last two questions. What was the original term used to describe top-tier attractions at Disneyland? Is that A ticket, B ticket, D ticket, or E ticket? So, the correct answer is E ticket.
Oh.
And what are the linking restrictions from JPD ideas to projects and goals from Atlassian Home? Is it one project and one goal, one project and many goals, many projects and one goal, or many projects and many goals? For the last question. Let's see, again, another tie. And the correct answer is one project and many goals. All right. So we have the top three winners because DQ is not included. So we have Robert, we have Julian, and we have Vilius.
Robert is from FMX. I think he's a DQ also.
Oh, is Robert a DQ also?
I
Oh,
think he's
sorry.
from
Okay.
FMX.
Sorry about that. And that should be Julian, Vilius, and we need to find who the third person is.
Two more, actually. So Brendan can be taking a look.
Yeah, just having a look at the leaderboard. 1 second. Okay, so we have Robert, Jillian, or Vilius. In 6th place is Amy F. And sorry, do we need one more or two more?
One more.
Just one more, so that'll be Amy.
Okay.
So
Robert is with FMX.
Yeah, so we need two more.
All right, so it's Julian, Vilius, Amy F, and Primo.
Okay.
do we have
Nice.
4?
By 1 second. Yes, 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so congratulations to the winners. Please send us direct message a email address so we can send you your prize. So we'll just wait on the either direct message me or write in the chat. That would be good. Sorry, go on, Dennis.
So just send us an email, your emails, and then we're going to contact you to give you your price. We want to show you upcoming events that are in Canada in the next few months. We have one in Toronto for Mini Team Expo on April 2nd. And we have another one in Calgary on March 19 around the kickoff and meet and as for the people that are coming to Team 25, just like we were saying at the beginning of the session, it's during April 8 to April 10 in California, just next to Disneyland. So we hope to see you there. If you still have an option to register yourself if you want to come. So thanks everyone for coming. If you didn't give us how to contact you, you can always contact Brandon to get your price. I hope we get all the 4 winners to give you.
Yeah, I don't have.
You have all the
Cremo.
4s?
I'm just looking for Cremo. I'm not sure if he had to. No, there he's still there. Ah, there we go. Got him.
Okay, you got
So we're
all
good.
4s?
Yep.
Join
Perfect.
is asking for a link for the Toronto event. So if you have
Uh,
maybe
Can
send it
we,
in-
Suzanne, can you share it in the chat?
I will grab it and share it over. Well, Susan's got it shortly quick on hand.
Any other question? I can look if anyone's want to speak while we leave everyone.
Preteen.
So yeah, Julian.
And I'm sharing the link. Oh,
Suzanne was
Yeah,
first.
at the same time.
Good.
Yeah, the Toronto one's going to be super fun, super good. If you can't make it to team, come to our team. You'll get to meet all the wonderful vendors with their own booths and lots of good food. And please, if you're in Toronto area, please join us on April 2nd.
and yeah, we want to thank everybody for coming. It has been a lovely afternoon. We greatly appreciate everybody's time today. And, we look forward to seeing you.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
You.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Around.